As the sun shines on all of my glory, my flaws don't look so bad at all. What was I so afraid of?
Hey everybody, it's Sharmel. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video. So today I am back with a chit chat get ready with me. Y'all, it's officially fall and I'm going out tonight, so I'm gonna do a variation of my regular face, but I am gonna try to autumn it up a little bit, maybe do a darker brown on my lid or something. We'll see. So yeah, let's get into it. So per usual, I will have everything that I'm using linked down below if you are interested in any of the products that I'm going to be using, because this is going to be a chit chat get ready with me, so I'm not going to be going in too much detail about the products I'm using. So again, those will be linked down below. Y'all, I decided to put on a wig today. It's my first time wearing a wig since I combed out my locks. I did wear a couple of wigs while I was locked, especially within the first year, but it's been a while since I've like really worn wigs. So this is gonna be interesting. So this is a chit chat get ready with me, so we're going to be chatting it up a little bit. So tomorrow will be exactly 4 weeks since I combed out my locks. Time is flying, and I know y'all probably like, girl, you combed them out, why you keep talking about the locks? But y'all, it's still stuff that be going on even though I don't have locks no more. But one of the main questions I've been getting in these last 4 weeks regarding combing out my locks from people online as well as in real life is, how am I adjusting? How do I like being back to, you know, loose hair? And that's a valid question, but everybody wondering about like my reaction and how I'm adjusting. But what I found really interesting in this process is how like other people have responded and reacted to me combing out my locks. So yes, in this video today, instead of talking about how I'm adjusting to me not having locks anymore, I want to talk about the response and how other people have reacted, have responded, and how other people are adjusting to me not having locks anymore. All right, so from the time I had decided to comb out my locks, I was very quiet about it. I didn't tell a lot of people. I did not want anybody's opinion to influence my decision. I think I told a few people, but it was mainly people like in my inner circle, like people close to me. I did disclose to a few, like literally the day that I decided to do it, I text like my cousins and I told them like, oh, I'm having the urge to cut off my locks this morning. I think I actually posted that text message when I made my announcement on Instagram, but I was just very intentional about not wanting to tell people. And even with social media, I didn't post anything about me combing out my locks until my locks were out. Like my 3-year lock update where I talked about me wanting to comb out my locks and that I made the decision to go through with it, I recorded that like at the beginning of August, and I didn't post the video until the end of August once my locks were actually out, because yeah, I just wanted to be on me. I did not want anybody telling me, oh, I shouldn't do it, or have me second thinking my decision. And then even while I was combing them out, a lot of people probably didn't know, like I was still out and about doing stuff, but I was wearing my hair either in a bun or I would put like a ponytail over it, so it kind of looked like something was going on. But unless you asked me about it or anything, like nobody really knew that I was doing it. And then once I finished, I just popped out with loose hair. Like I didn't make any major announcements. I just really combed them out quietly and then popped out one day with loose hair. And I'm really happy again that I did it that way, because I feel like since I've combed them out, it's definitely been kind of a mixed response. And I feel like if I made an announcement like, oh, I'm gonna begin the process of combing out my locks, I don't know, I just feel like things might have gone differently. So as far as like people's reactions to me combing out my locks, so my inner circle, you know, like my close friends, my cousins who I talk with frequently, their response I think they were kind of like me, just shocked, like, oh, you really doing it? Because like I said I was gonna do it, but then when I actually did it, they were like, oh, you were really serious. So I think as far as like my inner circle goes, obviously they gonna support me with whatever I do, but I feel like a lot of their response was just like shocked, but not shocked, because if any of you are familiar with me like pre-locks, me changing my hair is not uncommon. But I think because I had locks for 3 years, I think that's the longest that I've ever like really stuck to a style. So I think it was more of a shock that, oh, you did it, but we kind of did expect you to keep the locks since you had them for so long. But overall, like the response from like my inner circle and everything, like it was fine. I mean, what they gonna say? Like they gonna be mad at me because I combed down my locks? No. So yeah, their response was cool. My man, his response, I mean, he's also one of them people, he just loves me. So whatever I do, like he's pretty much with it. I remember when I started my locks, I was so afraid that like, oh, he wouldn't find me attractive or that I was gonna be ugly, but he actually really liked my locks. His first response to me combing out my locks was like, wow, you're leaving me, because you know he has locks and we've been locked in for the last 3 years with our locks, okay? And so that's kind of been like our thing, us being a couple with locks. So his first response was like, wow, you really leaving me, but he's whatever about it now. He was just telling me not too long ago he can't wait for me to get braids, because before I locked my hair, whenever I would get braids, like that was his favorite style on me. So right now he fine, like he just can't wait for me to get braids. So his response was cool. As far as like my outer circle, like not necessarily my close community, but you know like distant family and distant friends and like people in the community or places or whatever who I'm in community with, as far as their response, a lot of people were just kind of like confused, because again, I didn't make any like announcements or anything, and I just popped out one day with loose hair. A lot of people were just like, wait a minute now, didn't you just have like locks not too long ago? Last time I seen you had locks, now you have loose hair. So a lot of people were kind of confused and just kind of curious about like the whole process, because you know, a lot of people don't know that you can comb out locks. A lot of people think like once you lock your hair, like you have to either stick with it or cut your locks off. So yeah, as far as like other people, they were either just confused or just kind of curious. And then as far as like social media goes, especially since on my platform I created a community, you know, surrounding locks and you know, lock styles and chats and everything like that. So yeah, I was really nervous about like how the response would be on social media, and it's been a mixed response, but overall I do think that it's been a good response. It went a lot better than I thought it would, so I'm personally happy with that. But you know, with social media, you never know. I feel like the internet is just an interesting place. In general, I feel like most people have been pretty supportive as far as like social media goes, but you know, you always get those few. I definitely lost a few subscribers or followers on certain platforms, not in like drones. It wasn't like a lot, but I did notice like a little shift in some of my follower counts, and I did get a few comments of people like, oh, I only followed you for locks, now that you don't have them, there's no point for me to follow you. So yeah, the response has definitely been mixed, but I think overall it's been a supportive response as far as like social media goes. It's always interesting. I was having this conversation with one of my cousins, especially in regards to like social media, because I don't take anybody's support for granted, and I appreciate like all my supporters, everyone who supported me through my lock journey, subscribed, liked videos, shared videos. Like I don't take any of that for granted, and I genuinely appreciate it. But it's also interesting because like, you know, sometimes people will be more attached to something than you actually are, and sometimes that's how I feel with my locks. I feel like there were people who were more attached to my locks than I was actually attached to my locks. And I sometimes feel like as a creator, especially when you niche yourself into something very specific, a lot of people don't see you as like dimensional or multifaceted. Like whatever your niche is, they will try to box you into that. And it's like, if you do anything outside of what that niche is, people feel like it's almost a betrayal to them. So it's definitely interesting, again, just to see the overall response. But yeah, some of the comments I have received in real life and online have been a little they've been a little bold, I guess you could say. Like at church, it was this this man at my church. He's an older gentleman, and this is after I got my silk press. So I think by the time I got my silk press, I had already kind of like debuted my loose hair at church. I went to church like with my hair in its natural state. But when I came that following Sunday after I got my silk press, he said something along the lines of like, he liked my hair that way and that's the best that he's seen my hair look. And yeah, I think you should keep this look. And again, this is with my hair in a straightened state. And it was definitely given like respectability politics. I can understand, I know like the time that he comes from, his generation. I understand assimilation, and I know that they went through a period where, you know, they were trying to be more accepted, especially in their appearance. So I didn't take it personal, but I definitely was like, I'm on to you. And I don't care what that meant. Like, I'm gonna wear my hair how I want to wear it. So that was like one crazy comment. And then y'all, it's been a couple of comments throughout my social media platform of people just basically saying like I look better with locks. And it was definitely one comment in particular, and it's no shade to this commenter. I responded to her. I told her it's all love. She said something along the lines of like, I'm not feeling you with loose hair. Your locks look better. Sorry, babes. In general, for people who have kind of been making comments along the lines of like, I look better with my locks, we all have preferences. And I will say, even for myself, there are certain styles that I feel like compliment me more than other styles, or some looks compliment me more than other looks. And I don't think people necessarily have ill intentions when they make comments like that, but it can come off like very backhanded, and I don't know if people realize that or they just simply don't care. But yeah, I feel like comments like you look better with your locks or I like your locks better, yeah, it just comes off very backhanded. Even the man at my church who said like, this style looks better, this is your best style yet, it just comes off very backhanded. I look good, period, right? And that's not me bragging or being arrogant, but yes, I'm confident and I believe that I look good, period, regardless of what style I have. Like this face card, it doesn't decline, right? I could be bald, I can have short hair, long hair to my butt. I look good, period. Now, with that being said, yes, I do agree that certain hairstyles compliment me more than others, but I don't think it's even necessarily like a locked versus loose type of thing. Personally, I think I look better with hair pushed back off of my face. I feel like I look good with like updos because of my face structure, because of this face. I think those type of styles compliment me personally, right? I look good with my locks pulled up in a ponytail, and I'll look just as good with loose hair pulled up in a ponytail because that style compliments me, not necessarily locks versus loose hair. I think when it comes to hair in general and what compliments people's facial features, is all about like angles, and how hair frames your face is what really compliments you. Comments like that, like, I'm not taking it personally because it is what it is. It's the internet, and if I make content about my hair, then obviously I open the door for people to make comments about my hair and whatever their preference is. But yeah, I do feel like some people just make comments, and again, I don't necessarily think it's always ill-intended, but it's like they forget that like that's a real person on the other side of what you're saying. And honestly, just like, I just personally hate like how people always have to like put things against each other. Like, me combing out my locks is not like loose hair versus locked hair. Like, it's not an either or thing. My purpose with my channel is to show how versatile in general hair, especially black hair, can be. Like, we can do literally everything with our hair. And even with my locks, a lot of people appreciated my lock content because of the versatility that I show. So yeah, it's really not loose hair against locked hair, like just hair, and people have the right to choose what they want to do with their hair. But yeah, comments like that honestly reminded me of like early on in my lock journey, and I did a video titled like "You're Too Pretty for Locks" because that was a comment that I had heard early on in my lock journey, and I definitely feel like that comment kind of shaped my experience going into my lock journey, and why I was so like persistent on being so versatile and showing how versatile locks can be and showing how you can still be feminine. If anything, all of this experience has showed me that just people gonna always have something to say. Like when I first decided to get locks, you know, there were comments being made. Now that I decided to comb out my locks, now there's comments for other people being made. And so when it's all said and done, you just can't please everybody, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm just doing like a little brown smoky eye, real simple. I'm using this Juvia's Place. These are actually bronzers that I'm using. Another recurring topic I have been seeing like in relation to me combing out my locks is like people just kind of making comments about loose hair being high maintenance, unmanageable, not having time to do it, right? And I understand why a lot of people make this comment. And so a lot of times when I see people talk about like loose natural hair being high maintenance, most of the time they speak about like their relationship with their own natural hair, which I don't have no say so in you and your natural hair. And so when it comes to the internet, y'all, most of these messages are typed, so we never know the actual tone of the messages. But this comment in particular, she started the comment off saying not to be rude, and then went on to say stuff like, oh, I know she's tired of dealing with the maintenance that it takes to deal with loose hair. And she put like laughing emojis and like a face palm emoji. And so I'm not gonna lie, that comment definitely annoyed me a little bit, mainly because in the video that she commented on, I went into detail about like how I was adjusting, right? And at that point in time, it had only been 2 weeks that I had been a loose natural. So obviously the first couple of weeks, yes, it's going to be an adjustment, it's going to be high maintenance, because I just went from one extreme to the other. In regards to my first wash, like yes, the first wash after you comb out your locks, yeah, it's gonna be a little hectic, because I just combed out locks that I had for 3 years. My hair had been in a compressed state for 3 years. I hadn't had a comb run through my hair for 3 years. So yes, obviously initially it's going to be a big adjustment. However, like I mentioned in that video, I've always enjoyed doing my hair. Locked, loose, relaxed, short, whatever it was, however my hair has been, I have always found joy in doing my hair since I was young. So while some things may seem like tedious to other people, to me it just comes with the territory of doing your hair. So the maintenance of loose natural hair, before I locked, I had been a loose natural for a few years. Now, I wasn't necessarily wearing natural styles. However, I was still washing and conditioning my hair every 2 weeks, detangling it, braiding it back up in a braid down to either put on a wig or to braid in braids. Like, even though I wasn't wearing loose natural styles, I was still doing my hair regularly, right? So for me personally, like, it wasn't that big of a deal. Again, we all have different bandwidth, we all have different preferences, we all have different lifestyles. So I can understand that that may not be the case for everyone, but it's like, if I say I don't mind combing my hair, why is that just so unbelievable, right? I feel like a lot of people like to project their own hair issues onto other people. I understand that there are a lot of women who lock their hair specifically because they were tired of dealing with loose hair, loose natural hair. And I completely understand that. However, that wasn't the case for me. I didn't lock my hair because I hated my loose natural hair. I locked my hair because I used to always wear faux locks, and I always wondered how I would look with real locks. And I was bored with styling my hair at the time. And so, yeah, I wanted to try something new. But it was never because I had like a bad relationship with my loose natural hair. So yeah, comments like that are also interesting because I feel like a lot of it is rooted in projection. And in general, I just feel like it's very counterproductive. As Black women, I don't even want to make it like that about that too much. But in general, in spaces like this, especially on the internet, especially like within the hair community, whether you have loose hair, locked hair, relaxed hair, like whatever you have, I understand, again, everyone has their own history and relationship as it relates to the maintenance of their hair, but I do think that it's counterproductive when we get on these platforms and we constantly talk about like how high maintenance or how unmanageable Black hair is, especially like type 4 hair. I understand why people do it, because there are certain parts within your own personal hair journey that can be high maintenance, that can be time consuming and things like that. So it's like, I get it, but I don't like that that's the default. Like whenever we talk about like loose hair, it's all guarantee it's always going to be somebody talking about like, oh, my hair could never, or it's so hard to do this, or it just takes so much time, and it's whatever people say. And yeah, I just personally feel like we do ourselves a disservice within like the natural hair community, within the lock community, because what happens is that you have people who either hate their natural hair because they haven't found a method that works for them. Finding what works for not only your hair but your lifestyle, like that takes time, but it doesn't always have to be as time consuming. Like I get some people have a lot of hair, a lot of long hair, a lot of thick hair, but in general I do feel like once you find a routine with whatever it is with your hair, it does get a lot easier and it doesn't feel like a burden. I just don't like when people try to make their hair feel like a burden. And yeah, I feel like it does a disservice to the natural community, because there are a lot of people who will scream being natural but they hate their natural hair. I haven't always had the best experience with my natural hair either, and I know I'm sitting up here with a wig, but I'm also not on the internet complaining about how bad and how unmanageable my natural hair is. And then I feel like also it does a disservice to the lock community, because you have women who lock their hair not because they genuinely like locks or they're interested in the lock experience, but they lock their hair simply because they feel like their loose natural hair is unmanageable, it's high maintenance, and they don't want to do it. And in return, they end up really resenting their locks because they're wearing these locks that they don't do nothing to, that they don't really like, but they just like locks a little more than they like dealing with their loose natural hair. So yeah, again, I'm not in competition with locks. I'm not in competition with loose hair. It's not a battle, it's not a competition. And I just hate how we as women, especially now that we know how versatile Black hair is, I just hate how like we try to make everything a pissing contest. Like I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. And again, like I said, it's not an either or thing. We all have different lifestyles, we all have different bandwidths, we all have different preferences, and we all again have to adjust based on our own personal life, right? But I'm definitely grateful that, you know, this transition back has been fairly smooth. It's been pretty easy. I will say, especially regarding that comment of her saying like, oh, I know she's tired already of dealing with the maintenance of loose hair. Like I don't think people realize how much of like a really low-key life I live. If you watch my vlogs, which you should be, you will see that I don't really do a lot. Like I do go out, but a lot of times when I go out, because I'm getting out ready to go out now, it's not like a daily thing. So I think that has also kind of helped my transition back to loose hair, because I ain't worked in the office since 2020 and it's 2023, and so most of the days I'm in the house. And just like when I was locked, most of the days my locks was in like a messy ponytail, a messy bun. My loose hair has been the same way. Most of the days it's in a messy ponytail, a messy bun. Like it really hasn't been like as high maintenance as people would think it's been, because I don't do nothing, y'all. I really only go out on the weekends. And even when I do things on the weekends, because I know it's the weekend, like I plan accordingly or whatever. Now, I will say, if I was working in an office, I feel like my transition back to loose hair might have been a little different. Just because, yeah, working with other people is a lot differently, especially in my background. Like, if this was like 5, 6, 7 years ago, you know, I don't know if this transition back to loose hair would have been the same, because y'all, in my 20s, especially when I was working like in corporate offices and that type of environment, like I was on it, literally up at every day at 4 o'clock in the morning doing hair and makeup, because it was like I felt pressure to look a certain way. But now, as a 32-year-old, I don't really feel that pressure to be like, to feel like I'll always have to be on. Like, I am so relaxed and casual in my day-to-day life, and it definitely reflects in my hair. Like, there were times, even when I was going out to run errands, y'all, my hair had to be done. Y'all will throw my hair in a ponytail so fast and go do what I need to do. Like, it's just not that big of a deal. So what I will say about being locked is that it definitely kind of changed my relationship overall with my hair, because you have to go through those uncomfortable moments early on in your lock journey with all the different changes. Just allowing your hair to go through the maturing process, it kind of forces you to be comfortable with your hair. So now, like, coming out of being locked and transitioning back to loose hair, I still kind of have that same energy of like, you know, my hair is just gonna be what it's gonna be. I can allow my hair to just be without it being like bigger than what it needs to be, without feeling pressured for it to look a certain way. And yeah, y'all, like I said at the beginning of the video, I feel like other people's responses and reactions to me combing out my hair have been like a lot more dramatic than my own personal response and reaction. And it's just definitely interesting to see. Anytime that like someone says something that I may not agree with, or it might rub me the wrong way, I always think back to why I comb my locks out, why I even started my locks in the first place. And as long as I am aligned with what I want to do and what I said I was gonna do, then that's all that matters at the end of the day. But as far as my face goes, my face is pretty much done. I'm just gonna pop on some mascara, and then I'm gonna probably pop on a few eyelash clusters, and then I'm gonna get dressed, do my lips, and we're gonna come back and close out this video. All right, y'all, so I'm dressed. Y'all, put this wig on today. I'm still adjusting to it. I don't think I'm used to having hair in my face like this. Like, I don't think I look bad, but it definitely feels different. But let me do my lips real quick. My niece is on FaceTime. Okay, so I'm gonna do my lips real quick. The dark brown lip pencil. This is crazy, looking at myself like this. I don't know how I feel. I kind of want to do like, put some of it back into a claw clip, but my niece told me that when I do that, I look like one of her teachers. I'm going in with a dark brown lip gloss. This is Lava Cake from NYX. Again, everything will be listed down below. Is it giving fall? I was trying to get fall, y'all. I'm gonna go in with another NYX. This is Madeline. I'm gonna pop that into the center. So normally I go in with my Fenty Heat and Cherry Bomb as my topper, but it gives it kind of like a pinky kind of undertone. But I'm gonna try this. If I don't like it, then I'm gonna just go back over it with some of that. But this is from ColourPop. It's the So Juicy gloss, and this is the pumping gloss. Let's see. Oh, this got a little pink to it too. I didn't realize that. Okay, I tried to do something different, but it's giving me the same. All right, y'all, but this is the look. I kind of want to like take this and just pin it up a little bit, like something. It's just a little heavy in the front, a little too heavy in the front for me. Let's see. Now I feel like I'm messing it up. Maybe I'll just wear it down. We're gonna just wear it down. Forget it. big hair. Wear it down. Call it a day. Fluff it out a little bit. Maybe that's what it was. I needed to zhuzh it up a little bit. All right, you guys, so that is going to be it for this get ready with me. I think we're all adjusting to me not having locks anymore. Let's just say that, because we all got our opinions. I got my opinions. It's still different for me. Like, I don't think I look bad right now, but it just looks very different. But it's just like, this is also very on brand for who I used to be. So it's not like it's that much different. It's just that we ain't did this in a while, so it just feels very different. But it is what it is. But that's it, you guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on all of my social media platforms, and I will see you beautiful people in my next video. Bye.